Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as I show you some new raised beds that I have in my garden. So let's go. We are in my backyard and this is the northeast facing side of my house. I've had a raised bed here for a number of years. When we first bought the house 20 years ago, we didn't have anything here. It was just lawn. And we decided to make a vegetable garden here. And we made it using lumber. The lumber was untreated, and that's very important. If you're going to make a raised bed using lumber, make sure you use untreated lumber. And the reason you want to use untreated lumber is that chemicals do not leach out. But one of the drawbacks to using lumber, other than that it can be expensive, is that you have to replace it every number of years. It's going to depend on the type of lumber you use and also on your climate and your environment. Since our lumber was rotting, we decided to get rid of it and do something different. We ended up emptying and moving 2 raised beds that I purchased a number of years ago from Gardener's Supply. Vego Garden also reached out to me asking me if I wanted to use some of their raised beds as part of this project. And I said absolutely, I would love them. They had such a nice selection of not only different sizes but different colors. The reason why I chose the terracotta or rusty brown color was because we have irrigation and it sprays on our lawn. So it does hit these beds, and I was worried that if I chose a lighter color like a cream color, that I might have to spray paint over time the raised beds. So that's why I chose the color that I chose. I'll pop up on the screen the dimensions of the raised beds that I chose. Now I like the dimensions that I chose because they match the raised beds that I currently have pretty much. They might not be exact. I definitely didn't want to get the taller variety because I felt like, first of all, you have to fill them, and it takes a lot of material to fill a taller raised bed. And I also didn't want ones that were on some sort of a structure or stand because they really wouldn't have fit aesthetically this space as nicely as I wanted them to look. I preferred this type of style and this type of look for my yard. After we removed the wood perimeter, we took it and put it in a nice big pile. In case you're wondering what was that material made of, it was a lot of loam, but it was amended over the years with compost that I made myself as well as compost that I bought in bags. Then we took that pile of what was existing, added it to these beds, and then we top dressed it with compost that I made myself. One thing I also want to point out is we used to have a lot of trees out this way, and that was casting a lot of shade on this area. That was a problem. So when it came to being able to plant things in the raised bed that I had here before, I was kind of limited. So this will be a great year to experiment. We had the tree directly behind me limbed up, and so that should be able to bring in additional light on top of the trees that we had cut down. In terms of placement of these beds, we reoriented them so that they were more parallel to the house and they're out a little bit more from the woods. We also made sure when it came to spacing them out that we were able to bring a wheelbarrow in and out of here, because that's so important. When you're lugging compost or soil or anything like that, you want to be able to have a wheelbarrow that can move in and out amongst your raised beds. This right here is a wellhead. We had to make sure when we placed our raised beds that they were on either side of the wellhead. We also didn't want the wellhead to be on the outside of the beds, so we placed them accordingly, and this is perfect because at least this will be hidden then. Now I'm going to share some footage where my husband unboxed, assembled, and then installed these raised beds. Now I want to share with you what's next for this area because it still is work in progress. After removing this pile of dirt here, as well as putting down cardboard and wood chips or mulch, we also need to add grass seed in this area over here. I want to point out on the sides of the raised bed, there's a bunch of soil that's splattered. Every time it rains, it gets dirt on here. In order to prevent that from happening, that's the reason why we're going to be putting down the wood chips or the mulch. Every time it rains, it won't splatter like this. The other thing I want to point out is notice the difference in height. I actually like this height better. This is nice, I've enjoyed it, but I'm looking forward to having a raised bed that's a little bit higher. You can see we've already started laying down some cardboard. We're going to be using that just to kill out any lawn that might be in here. As more cardboard becomes available, we're going to continue laying it down. After that, we're going to pour either wood chips or mulch on top of the cardboard. And in terms of the perimeter of all these beds, the same thing. We're going to have a little bit of cardboard, a little bit of that mulch or wood chips, just to make it easier to mow as well as weed whack. So right now I have bush beans as well as my peas planted. And I'm still going to be planting more things in here. Some of my plans are to plant some tomatoes, and I want to make a nice trellis for those tomatoes, as well as cucumbers. And I'll have to see what else I'm going to get planted out in this area. I want to give a special shout out to Vego Garden. Thank you for supplying these raised beds for this project. Check out the description below for more information on these raised beds and how you can go about purchasing them in case you want to. So far, I'm very pleased with this project. It's coming along well. And if you have any questions or comments, as always, drop them down below. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.